Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew. Unfortunately, due to technical issues, not joined today by Rob. Sorry, I guess we freaked some people out here with the intro, as I put in the comments section that we were having some medical and some technical issues here. So I actually have COVID, able to be at my normal place there. And Rob having his technical issues he's having here, getting everything going here. Just took a little time to get everything going. Was thinking I wouldn't be by myself today because obviously with COVID, it's having a little bit of throat issues here. So not sure how long I'll be able to go for, guys, but I wanted to give you guys still the episode here. Obviously today is a big win here for the New York Football Giants as they finally defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. It feels like it's been forever since we've beaten the Eagles there. I mean, it's been years. I mean, whew. Talk about a team that's had our number lately. It's been both the Eagles and the Cowboys there lately here. So let's go over the score here. Obviously, the Giants win 27-10 overall. It was 24-0 at the end of the first half there. Pure, absolute domination there by the Giants there. Just like I said, such a weird thing to see considering how many times now we've seen the complete opposite. Yeah, I made the joke on Twitter at one point that we're beating down the Eagles like the Eagles usually beat down the Giants. It was legit like that kind of thing there. So, yeah, I mean, you got a ton of injuries there happening in the game as well. You got Tyrod Taylor going in and out multiple times. You got, Tommy DeVito going in and out multiple times. On the Eagles side, they had the really big injuries, though. Jalen Hurts dislocated a finger during the game. What was fun is Bobby Okereke went to literally jump the offensive line to go ahead and, stop the brotherly shove there, which obviously is the play that everybody talks about all the time there where they're trying to shove and get that last yard to try to go ahead and get that first down. He jumped the play early, went right into Jalen Hurts, which, hell, if you're going to jump a play early, at least, make them pay for what's about to happen because, let's be honest, even if we go ahead and stop the play, they're still going to get the 1 yard with a brotherly shove. You might as well get the penalty at that point, get the easy hit on Jalen Hurts and make him think twice about doing it again. So, yeah, Jalen Hurts dislocated finger on the play, had a horrible day, was eventually pulled, partially because of how he was playing, partially because of the injury, and partially because by the time the Eagles started pulling people, they knew they weren't going to win. It was getting obvious that the Cowboys also were going to win and beat the Commanders, so they weren't even playing for anything anymore. So, A.J. Brown hurt himself in the game as well. Looked like a knee injury there after fumbling on a reception there. The big question there is, was that the MetLife turf monster striking back again? We've talked about this before on the program many a times. This is a stadium that has seen so many ACL injuries and knee injuries as a whole there that eventually got to go, you know what? The Players Association has to step up and do something. They really do. And it's embarrassing as a Giants fan, to be very frank about it, that we keep on having a turf field that has caused so many players to get injured. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. They can afford it. If they can afford to put grass in during the soccer games, the Giants and the Jets both can afford to put in grass during their games as well. Absolutely ridiculous there. But the big story of the day really is the Giants' offense, and most of this comes on the first half there. As I mentioned, 27 points we score as a whole. We score 24 points in the first half alone. So it's just amazing to see, that kind of offensive output from this type of team. We literally scored more points in the first half this game than we usually do in an entire game. Same with the yards as well. Tyrod Taylor on the day, 23 of 32, 297 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Only sacked one time, though, guys, by the way. That's pretty amazing. Tommy DeVito in his little bit of attempts he's had. 2 of 2, 14 yards, 1 sack. Both of them with a QB rating over 95. So both of them, I mean, Tommy DeVito obviously didn't have a lot of time on the field there, but they both looked good in the time they were on the field. In the run game, not necessarily so great, to be honest, on the day there, but didn't need it to be. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 46 yards. It's just a 2.6 yard average. 2 touchdowns on the day, which is a big thing there. What very well may have been his last game as a New York Giant. We'll find out about that as the offseason keeps going there. Tyrod Taylor, 8 carries, 38 yards, and no touchdowns. Eric Gray had a couple carries even. Eric Gray was actually our best runner of the day, though was on a very short amount of carries there. 3 carries, 19 yards, and 6.3 yard average there. Sterling Shepard, another guy, potentially his last, well, I shouldn't say potentially, let's be honest. We know it's going to be his last game as a New York Giant there. The Giants wouldn't have let him come out last out of the tunnel and all if they didn't think this was going to be his last game ever as a New York Giant. 1 carry for 6 yards there. On the receiving side, Wan'Dale Robinson. This guy was a beast in this game, guys. For those of you who enjoyed watching the entire, I know some Giant fans are like, I'm not watching this. The season's over. It's the Eagles. We always lose to them. For those who watched the whole thing, from absolute beast mode he was in. 5 catches, 85 yards. Darius Slayton, 5 catches, 62 yards, and a great touchdown catch as well. Saquon, 2 catches, 51 yards. Darren Waller, 5 catches, 45 yards. Another guy, maybe his last game ever as a New York Football Giant. We'll see. Sterling Shepard, 3 catches, 18 yards. And they used him a lot more this game than they usually do. And I'm sure that was by plan as a way to show respect to him in his last possible game as a New York Giant there. So kudos to the coaching staff for doing that. That's a classy thing. You know, as much as it's embarrassment to see the issues with the turf, the grass there at MetLife Stadium, that's the kind of move, guys. When you see a guy who we know is done, probably done in the league and in general as a whole, but at the least done with the New York Giants, and has meant a lot to the franchise. The longest tenured Giant, actually even passed Jeremy Shockey in this game for the 5th most receptions in New York Giants history. And they put him on the field a lot more than usual. It was a nice tribute that the coaching staff gave him. 1 catch, 9 yards for Eric Gray, and 1 catch, 5 yards for Jalen Hyatt, who left very early in the game there with a hamstring issue there. So not too much as far as him there. Defense side. Defense was just as dominant as the offense. It's funny because whenever things are going very well on both sides of the ball, you always hear about the offense. So let's be honest, the offense we enjoy watching a little bit more sometimes and that kind of stuff. But the defense was on point this entire game. Even the second half, that was, the offense pretty much gave up and stopped scoring points on our side there. We got the 1 field goal and that's it. The defense still only gave up 10 points in the entire game. So the big thing there was obviously Micah McFadden. Whew, that man was all over the place. Great in pass coverage there. Has a couple passes defended very well. 9 tackles on the day. Bobby Okereke, 8 tackles on the day. And we talked about this before. Your top, tacklers should be your linebackers. It shouldn't be you have corners the first couple positions. Now, we do have a corner at the 3rd position, but again, you want your first couple of guys to be linebackers, defensive tackles, defensive ends, edge, those kind of guys, because that means they didn't get deep into your secondary when they're running the ball and all. Dory Jackson was 7 tackles, Dane Belton 6 tackles. Now, Dane Belton also had a sack. He had 2 tackles for loss. I mean, he was all over the place in this game here. Talk about a guy who is taking, advantage of the fact that he got more playing time with the injury to Jason Pinnock. And I think that this is something to look at because we have a decision coming up with Xavier McKinney, guys. And I know there's some people that love him, but he's going to want some money. And rightfully so. He's worth it. He's a guy who's going to probably be paid about $10 to $11 million a year. Now, we talk all the time when it comes to Saquon Barkley and running backs as far as, paying based on value, paying based on, what we think that position is worth. Is the safety position a premium position? Of course not. So when we don't have as much money as some people like to think we have, we have like 35 million. I don't know the exact number. We have like 35 million in the cap space right now. Before we do anything with Barkley, Xavier, McKinney, all these guys, do we want to spend a third of that on a running back, another third on a safety? There's gonna be some issues here this offseason, guys. That I'm telling you right now, people are not gonna like potentially, but they'll be the smart moves in the day. So we'll have to see what happens there. Interception-wise, we had some interceptions. Who would have thought Eagle game interceptions? Of course there is. It's what the Eagles have been doing, turning the ball over left and right during this stretch of games they're playing horribly here. 2 interceptions to the aforementioned Xavier McKinney there. Again, maybe his last game as a Giant, he made his presence known there. Let's go over what the Eagles did on offense, guys, because really, that tells the story. It really tells the story of how bad they were. Jalen Hurts, the big one. 7 of 16, 55 yards, 1 interception, sacked twice. Again, he only played one half, but still, that would have put him on pace for 110 yards. Kenneth Gainwell is the only guy to get any decent yardage on us, though. We definitely allowed some good running on their end. They had 133 yards overall rushing, a 5.5 carry average there. But we were hell-bent on stopping the pass. And we did that the first half. The second half, like I said, we kind of gave up a little bit. It was there more in prevent defense. No one get injured, but slow them down, keep the lead going. That kind of defense there. Marcus Mariota was 13 of 20, 148 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked 3 times in the day. So he definitely looked better than Jalen Hurts did. But I'll tell you, I've been saying it all along, and I'll say it again. This is what happens when you take away the top flight receivers for Jalen Hurts. He's not as good as people think he is. I still stand by that. I still will say that. And I think that, while today doesn't prove it, today's a good example when we have enough of a time frame to give us that, as a truth. Because next week, the Eagles will have to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When they do that, they may be without both their receivers. Devontae Smith was already injured before this game. A.J. Brown, they have a knee injury. He'll be out for a while. I think you won't even see him to start of next year, potentially, if this is like an ACL injury or something like that. So we're going to have some time to see what Jalen Hurts really is. And I'm telling you guys, he's not that good. He's not as good as people think. Eagles also lost 2 fumbles on the day as well. So, just horrible, horrible performance by them all around. But it's kind of like, how much do we celebrate a win on Week 18, guys? Feels great because it's the Eagles. But it's Week 18. It's a meaningless game. We want to go crazy. But here's the one thing we do need to talk about. And that's the draft. Because I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter, on Facebook, and all these different social media platforms going all sorts of crazy. Because they're all worried about the draft pick. They're worried about what's going to happen because the Giants are winning and now they have one. Well, we got a little help here. The Jaguars couldn't beat the Titans. Unfortunately, the Chiefs barely beat the Chargers. The Chargers were this close to beating the Chiefs even. It was a last-minute field goal for the Chiefs to win in the end. But we only go back, guys, because of that, from 5 to 6. There are fans freaking out right now, acting as if we just lost the chance to trade up because we went from 5 to 6. 5 to 6 is not that much of a difference, guys. 5 to 6 is not. People are acting as if we went from 5th overall pick to we lost our first round pick. We still have pick 6, guys. Pick 6 is a very good pick. It's a very valuable pick. And the team that leaped us, the Chargers, they don't want a quarterback. They just paid for one. They're like us, but they actually have faith in their quarterback. It's not like us where Daniel Jones, we want to get rid of him, and we think he's probably done. They still think Justin Herbert might be the answer. I think he's probably the most overrated quarterback in all of football, but they still think he might be the answer. So when it boils down to it, they're not going to do that. They're going to draft probably a tackle. There's a couple of big-name tackles in this draft. They're hoping they'll be available at, pick 5 for them now. And to be honest, one or both of them probably will. So that's what they'll take. If you really want to get into what we should be upset about that happened in this day draft-wise, it's the fact that the Commanders have now gone to pick number 2. That's the one that should upset you. If you are someone who likes Drake May or Caleb Williams, I should preface that, because there's plenty of us out there, and I said us because I'm definitely one of them. I think both those guys are overrated. And both those guys, there's no guarantee, are the best 2 quarterbacks in this draft. But that being said, if you are one of those guys that thinks otherwise, and those are the 2 guys, you got to get one of those 2. Well, the Commanders got the 2nd overall pick. They're going to get one of those 2. They're going to get a quarterback. This is not a team that's going to build around Sam Howell. They're going to get a new coach, and they're going to build right around whoever this new quarterback is. And I'm telling you right now, the Bears, they lost today, and they may also consider a quarterback. So it may be Bears Commanders with us with no chance to go get one of those 2 players. And you know what? If we lost this game and we kept the 5th overall pick, that was still the same scenario. That didn't change, guys. Losing this game would not have gained us a damn thing. So let the players have their fun. Let the players enjoy the moment. Pat Train has said that she's the most excited she's seen in the locker room in a long time. This is them getting a lot of frustration out. Keep in mind, this is the same Eagle team that's beaten us 3 times last year and once earlier this year already. So even the newer Giants understand the frustration that is between the Eagles and the Giants there. So we'll now be pick number 6. I still think we'll trade up at some point probably to get a quarterback. I don't know if it's going to be trading up like people think to the first couple picks to go to Jaden Daniels or a Drake May. I think we may still end up drafting somebody in the late 1st round, early 2nd round, depending on how the chips are falling. Keep in mind, a lot of things are going to change between now and then, guys. A lot of things are going to change. I mean, watch what happens on Monday. Michael Penix, and you guys know I'm a Michael Penix fan. I don't care about the injuries. That was a couple of years ago. He's been healthy the last couple of years. Michael Penix is a guy that I think may run up the draft boards. And if the Giants think he's legit the guy, and he's there at 6, and he's not going to be there for them later on, whether it's trading up to the end of the first half, latter half of the 1st round, or getting him with their 1st, 2nd round pick, maybe you get him. Because I'm telling you, look at the receivers. Everybody talks about the receivers this guy has. He's got 3 receivers that are probably going to get drafted very early on in this draft. And I hear a lot of people shitting on him for that. Well, you know what those 3 receivers all have in common? Michael Penix Jr. How much of it is the receivers? How much is the guy throwing the ball to them? Because when I see 3 guys all having success, that tells me there's a good chance. There's a damn good chance that the person throwing the ball, these 3 guys succeed, trying to take away from the receivers in this. But don't tell me that Michael Penix Jr. isn't helping these guys succeed. You can have the best receivers in the world, but they're not going to shine if they've got bad quarterbacks. So we've seen that. We're Giants fans. We know what happens with bad quarterbacks. So yeah, to me, I think that's the guy. But we'll see. There's a lot to go between now and then. Obviously, Rob and I will be doing individual episodes on each of the major quarterbacks, including Caleb Williams, including Drake May, including Daniels, Penix, Nix, McCarthy, as I see people talking about him in the comments section here. We'll keep all that going. So, all right. So before we get too much into that kind of stuff here, I'm going to let you guys know also what we plan on doing for you guys here the next upcoming weeks as well. Let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to go through all the comments here. Give my voice a break here. So start a little air a little bit there.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Alrighty, guys. First up, we have Joe Tisdale. He probably already left there. I know he works weird hours there, so he tries to chime in when he can. Always listens on the audio. Joe, appreciate you being on as always, man. He says, screw draft position. Embarrassing and exposing the scrub fraudulent Eagles was worth it. Besides, there's no guarantee of first-round quarterbacks in the draft. Anyways, going to trust Shane and Dable. Damn straight. And then it says, go G-Men. And we put right after that, because it was a little bit before we're starting up here. It says we go from 5 to 6, Joe, and people act as if we completely lost the first-round pick. And I'll keep saying that, guys. People need to stop freaking out over this win as if we just, lost the first-round pick. We just went down one spot. Not a big deal. Deb says 5 to 6 is not going to make that much of a difference. Exactly. It doesn't. It really doesn't in the end. Let's see. There's people talking about us being late. Yeah, again, I apologize about that, guys. Like I said, I was hoping to have Rob get his technical issues fixed before we started. I didn't want to have to go with the whole episode here by myself with my voice the way it is. It's starting to get a little harder to breathe talking like this here the whole time like this. It's fun though. It's not that bad. I say it that way, but it's like cold is what this COVID has been for me. So if anybody gets a new strain, hope you guys are doing better. I know it's going around like crazy all of a sudden, but it's really just like a really bad cold. It's just talking a lot like this is what gets it going, basically. Deb says, hi, Connor. Connor says, hey, Deb. Big win today, but G-Men cost me money by sucking in second half. Yeah, they just gave up. It's like, they just like, okay, we proved our point. We're done. That's what it basically went to. She said, Deb says, I'm glad they beat the Eagles. Cost us one drop down to the draft. I don't care. I hope Tampa Bay finishes them off next week. And yeah, depending on how I feel next week, guys, I'm debating on trying to go to the game even, since I do live here in Clearwater. It'd be kind of nice to see them flop horribly against the Bucks, that's for sure. I have to actually wear some Buck, I don't know, maybe Buck colors, not Buck gear. I don't want to be that fan that wears, like, another team stuff at the stadium, but, you know, I'm a Giant fan through and through no matter what, but maybe an orange shirt? I don't know. We'll figure something out if I do go. Connor says that'd be crazy, but they barely beat the Panthers today. And yeah, they really did. The Bucks did not look so good today. Everybody's talking about them. Yay, they won, because nobody expected them to win a division this year, guys. But let's be honest, that's a really bad division. If the Giants were in that division, we'd probably be celebrating a championship right now, too. It's that bad a division. Deb says, I know. I don't think Eagles will go deep in the playoffs. They are tanking. Face purple crying. Connor says, never seen a team collapse like they have done badly when they were so solid. It's crazy. Yeah, it's an absolutely like crazy thing to see happening on. This is like, yeah, just absolutely crazy. I've never seen a team go, what, they start 10-1 and then go down this bad. I mean, they lose to the Cardinals. They barely beat us the first time. They lose to us the second time in a really bad fashion. Something is definitely wrong, and I've never been a fan of Nick Sirianni to begin with, not as a person, but just I don't think he's that good of a coach necessarily, and I think that him losing the coordinators really hurted him a lot more than he let on in the beginning, and I think that's some of the issues they've had. I mean, look at A.J. Brown not talking to the press for a couple weeks, the defense is giving up crazy yards all season long, the turnovers now by Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of that is the lack of assistance now that he had last year. Because it wasn't just coordinators he lost. It was some assistants as well he lost that went along with those coordinators. And it's hurting him. It's hurting him. It really is. Let's see. Connor says, COVID, hold on. Let me spray the screen with some Lysol disinfectant. Go ahead, Connor. Go ahead. He's drew back up 5 feet. I think he's saying to the mic, this is, like I said, this is my backup mic that I had when we first started doing the show there long ago. Like I said, I am in my quarantine wing here, so I got the 5 days of quarantine. So I'll be on again tomorrow with it as well, like this too, guys. Fun. On the plus side, I've gotten to get a lot of content work done for the show as well by doing this. Hopefully get the website up and going the next day or two as well, because I've been kind of putting that off. Because you do one project and there's like one thing, there's that one thing that you can't quite figure out how to get done, and it just slows you down, you get frustrated. I'm one of those people that when that happens, sometimes I want to walk away. So I need to finish it up there for you guys, because I want everything rolling for it. So hopefully the next day or two I'll get that going. He says, I'm sorry, it needs to be all grass, somehow easy to remove and replace big pieces if needed during the game. It just, in general, you're talking 100 yards of sod. How much is that really going to cost a football team? I'm sorry, it's not that much. It's not that much. Connor says, keep Tyrod, trade Daniel Jones for pick, clean sweep, start over, tired of it all, lost money in my Giants again today, couldn't get to 40.5 points, shake my fucking head. Yeah, what it boils down to, Connor, Daniel Jones is a trade candidate. We're going to do an episode here, I think, coming up, and let's see, it's going to be like another week or two, where we do cap. Actually, no, we'll probably end up doing it on Wednesday. It'll be cap casualty candidates and trade candidate. You notice I did that as singular, trade candidate. He's the candidate, Daniel Jones. Because the only way to get rid of Daniel Jones is to trade him. It'd be cap nightmare. I just don't know who's going to want him. We'll get into that topic then. But I have a unique idea on potentially how to get rid of him there. I think some people may like, some people may not like. But if we get rid of him in a trade, guys, it frees up a ton of money. An absolute ton of money. So I'd like to do it, but it's got to make sense for both parties. That's hard to do with the guy who we want to get rid of that bad. There's a reason we want to get rid of him that bad. Connor says, of all things, Cal Puke saved me to get my money back. They barely did that. Thankful they didn't get first down, kicked field goal at the very end. Saved my ass. Yeah. It's bad when the Cowboys are saving you, but it happens sometimes. Connor says, funny seeing Fournette on Bills right now. Yeah. It's funny. He's also looks like he's in a really good shape with the Bills, too. He's not all fat Leonard Fournette. He's been with the Bucs the last couple of years. Connor says, Bills are in beast mode right now. Let's see if it lasts. I think I read if Bills win, they still have to play Miami again next week. That's crazy. I'd have to look at the exact seeds. I don't have that in front of me here. I do know that thanks to the Jaguars losing, the Bills are automatically going to be in the playoffs no matter what. Because what's crazier to me is the fact that we talked about this in the preview episode for the week, in the picks week there, that if the Bills didn't win, there was a chance they wouldn't even get in the playoffs potentially this week. Again, going into the week, now they are definitely going to be in the playoffs because the Jaguars lost. But could you imagine a scenario where you can be anywhere from the second seed overall in the playoffs to not even being in the playoffs? That's insanity. That's like such a crazy stretch. It's not even funny, guys. Let's see. Ron Duffney says, hi. Hey, what's up, Ron? Hope you're enjoying the show. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Much appreciated, man. And then Connor says, hi, Ron, as well. Let's see here. We got... Connor says, well, Allen just threw pick in the end zone. What an idiot. That's what Allen does. He does a lot of turnovers, but he also does a ton of touchdowns. You have to take the good with the bad. And, you know, the comparison is made a lot of times in football. But if you want to get into, like, a true modern-day Brett Favre, it's Josh Allen. That's what he is. He's going to throw a lot of picks and do a lot of turnovers, but he's going to also throw a ton of touchdowns. And he'll do more touchdowns to interceptions, and it makes up for it in the end. It's what you do with that kind of quarterback. It's part of who he is, that gunslinger mentality. If you try to take it away from him, you're taking away what makes him special, and he won't be as good anymore. That's for sure. So, let's see. Connor says, Michael Penix Jr., no matter what. I wouldn't say no matter what. And again, I have to do more homework on more guys before I say he's the only guy that I really like. But I'll tell you this. I've done enough homework to know he's a guy I do like. And he's a guy that I have a lot of confidence in. And I think he's going to be very good in this league. I really do. And I think people are going to pass up on him because of the injury history. But again, as we've said in this program multiple times, he's been healthy the last 2 years, guys. 2 years now. How many players in the Giants right now have been healthy the last 2 years? Just saying, like, the injury issue doesn't concern me as much. I get it. He could always re-injure it. It's kind of scary having a knee with 2 ACL tears already. That's life sometimes. You know, even if I get him for next 5-6 years and he's elite for that time period, I'll take that over a guy who could potentially bust and never be good. 5 or 6 years of elite is better than none. That's 5 or 6 more. I'll take it. Deb says Michigan QB is good too. Yeah, J.J. McCarthy. It's the one concern I have with him overall is, there's obviously the cheating scandal that happened. I don't know if some of it is a benefit to him at that point, and that's one that sticks in the back of my mind. And I haven't done enough tape on him. I haven't looked into that part of it yet enough, so I'm not going to say it is or isn't. But it can't hurt. It can't hurt, that's for sure. So, let's see here. Connor says, first pick, don't miss out on him. I like that Connor's on the Penix train here. Connor also says, J.J. McCarthy doesn't get yards. We need a guy that can throw consistent. Deb says, isn't there a really good receiver from Washington that Penix already works with? Would love to grab him too. There's a bunch. Like I said, there's like 3 receivers that'll be drafted from Washington. And he says, yes, Adunze, which is Rome, who's going to be Rome's going to be probably, honestly, a top half of the draft kind of guy. He's going to be like the second and third receiver taken in this draft, guys. We will not get him and Penix unless you can trade back into the first round to get Penix as well. Not going to happen otherwise. He says Polk good too. Yeah, Polk's probably a better option here. Connor says, let's hope this 6th pick is better than Daniel. Well, that's not necessarily saying too much. Connor says, Drew, take break for yourself. Don't mess with COVID. We will be here when you get better. No, I appreciate it, man. I'll be fine. Like I said, it's really just like a bad cold. That's what it is more than anything else. It's just this is a lot of talking that I'm doing here. It's been like 35 minutes here, so yeah. Probably won't be too much longer for an episode for that reason, so I don't, go too crazy here. But like I said, want to always listen. We're always going to do the episode no matter what. I will find a way to get any episode done for you guys there. I know there's some of you guys that at least schedule it out as part of your day. We appreciate that, both Rob and I, and we'll make sure one of us is always on for you guys. So, Beef said they're not getting rid of Daniel Jones. He'll be the starter next year. Stop the hate train. They will get rid of him, whether actually physically or just at least in the depth chart. Trust me, they're going to get rid of him, Beef. I get it. And I don't think they're going to necessarily stretch to go get someone. But yeah, it's going to happen. There's no way that they're not going to at least have someone to compete with him. And Daniel Jones, it's not a matter of hate. I've seen him for 5 years. I've seen enough. He's not the answer. He can't read defenses well enough. So it's time. Hate is if they got a guy a year or two and then we think that. It's time. Connor says, watch Draft Day movie yesterday. Part of the movie where he says, Vontae Mack no matter what. That's what I want with Michael Penix Jr. if they're not keeping Daniel Jones. Connor says, I'm not kidding. Allen just threw TD interception in end zone again. Yeah. He said it's what he does. It's what he does. Alrighty, guys. So we'll be back again for you guys tomorrow night. Hopefully Rob's got his technical issues there figured out by then. So we both of us there. A little less talking for me. But we'll be back again there for you guys tomorrow night, doing our breakdown of the Week 18 games, giving you guys all the results of the games here, including the one going on right now here with the Bills and the Dolphins. That one obviously is going to decide the AFC East. Could decide the playoffs too. Well, there's a big difference between being the 2nd seed and getting potentially 2 home games, and being a wild card team. It really doesn't get a single one potentially. So, right now it's the end of the first quarter as we're recording this, and it's 0-0. So we'll see what happens there. But my money's on the Bills. So, as Deb also says, feel better soon. Black Monday tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some updates of Black Monday too as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a few. Though I do think Belichick, which is the big one people are waiting on, will probably not happen for a few days. But I do think he'll be gone. So again, we'll see you guys again tomorrow, giving you guys that breakdown. And as Deb mentioned, we will be giving you guys the Black Monday updates as well of any of the coaches that get fired or GMs that get fired and all tomorrow as well. Probably be a few of them there. So appreciate you guys listening in and watching as always. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, usually on Instagram. I couldn't do it from this setup I have here as the backup setup here in my bedroom during my lovely COVID quarantine here. And of course, We're always on the next day on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the big ones there. Appreciate you guys listening in as always. I appreciate you guys' patience with us tonight for starting a little late there because of all the issues there. We'll see you guys again tomorrow night. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?
Thank you to those who have signed up for our silver gold levels of membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.